Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. I have a very long list of things that people have requested over time, and I figured, given that there's nothing too much going on right now, I'm going to take the chance to maybe have a week or two of wish fulfillment and go through at least some of the things that people have been asking over time. And we'll start out with the Asashio, the Tier 8 premium Japanese destroyer. The Asashio did exist. It's still at Tier 8, so a lot of things still existed. And the Asashio was the first class of ships that, or was of the first class of ships that was developed after the Shiratsuyu class. And the Shiratsuyus were still built under treaty limitations, so they were kind of a bit limited in what they could do. The Asashios were the first ones who built outside the treaty limitations. So the Japanese went a bit and made them bigger, and put powerful engines in them, and gave them more guns. So we're back to the turreted, not the single guns, but the turreted twins that we'll be seeing going forward. This class was then actually succeeded by the Kagero class, which means this is actually it's kind of in between the Shiratsuyu and the Kagero. The Asashio herself was, meant to be, obviously, a powerful torpedo destroyer, but most of the time during the war used for either convoy duty or, convoy duty. And the Japanese had a bit of a problem, especially the destroyers going forward, because most of the Japanese fleet towards the later years of the war was held in reserve, because the Japanese didn't have the fuel and didn't really want to risk the fleet. And the destroyers were the only ones who were actually actively operating, which means that they had to take the brunt of all the attacks. Now, attacks from the air tended not to be particularly successful until the Allies started practicing skip bombing, which was quite terrifying for the destroyers, because it was a lot harder to dodge than anything else, and they weren't quite sure what to do about it. The Asashio was, I think it was in the Bismarck Sea. She was on a convoy escort duty on a very risky mission where they tried to reinforce New Guinea against the Australians, and they were attacked from the air. Parts of the convoy were taken out, troop convoys were taken out, and the Asashio herself, I think, was also hit and then proceeded to sink, which was the end of that. I don't know if she was hit by skip bombs or not, but it's just one of those relatively interesting things that you're never really aware of, that caused trouble. If you read the Hara's Japanese Destroyer Captain, the book is his biography, or his war biography, he explicitly mentions that skip bombing was quite terrifying for them. So I'm gonna take his word for it. Anyway, Asashio in the game. One of these, how is that thing different, premium destroyers? So let's have a quick comparison between the Kagero, the Tech Tree Tier 8, and the Asashio. The first thing that stands out is that the Asashio and the Kagero have very similar loadout, just that the Asashio gets an extra torpedo tube rapid reload. She also, uncharacteristically for the Japanese line, but not for the Japanese premium lines, gets deep water torpedoes. This is the stuff you normally find on the Pan-Asian destroyers, which cannot hit enemy destroyers, which is always baffling for people. Other than that, she's got fewer hit points than the Kagero, and her maneuverability is lacking a little bit compared to the Kagero. The guns are exactly identical to the Kagero. The torpedoes. This is where it gets interesting, because, and this is usually the main reason why people ask me about this, she gets a 12-kilometer range on these torpedoes. That is pretty massive for Tier 8. They are quite fast as well, and they do a little bit more damage than the Kageros, but they do have a longer reload. And, they do have a 12-kilometer base range. The AA, we don't have to talk about AA. and her concealment is not quite as good as the cargoes. So this is a pure torpedo boat, long-range torpy thing. Now, one interesting question that I'm asking myself, does this matter? Do you need 12 kilometers of torpedo range? What is the benefit, right? Because usually when I drop torpedoes, I'm going to try and get as close as possible because I want to try and get as many torpedoes on target as possible, which means having 9.6 or 12 kilometer range doesn't really make that much of a difference, does it? There's another ship, though, that I want to compare first before we get any further into that, and that is the Yudachi from Tier 7, because the Yudachi is a very, very similar ship in terms of setup. So the Yudachi gets one fewer engine boost, but gets another torpedo reload, which is quite surprising, really. She's obviously a weaker ship because she is the Shiratsuyu class. She is the predecessor, but is also better. Is also more maneuverable. The guns are not quite the same, but she gets effectively, I would say, very, very similar torpedoes. No, she only gets a 9 kilometer torpedo range instead of the 12 kilometers, and the torpedoes do a little bit less damage. But she's got they've got the same speed, and she's got a slightly faster reload, and she gets the 2 torpedo reload boosters, and she gets a slightly worse concealment. So I would almost say I don't understand why the Asashio only gets 1, because that's a Tier 8 ship. And the torpedoes are not that different from the Yudachi at Tier 7, and the Yudachi gets 2. So we've got given longer range. Actually, let me check something on the tech tree, if I can find it. There it is. Japanese destroyers. What are the range on Oshima? Because I don't know. Actually, we need to add that to the comparison a bit. Otherwise, we're not getting the full values. So let's explore that as we go. Shimakaze torpedoes, 10.2 kilometers. So this thing actually has. Does she have the longest torpedo range in the game? It's possible. I would have to check all the other destroyers to find that out. But she has a very, very long torpedo range. So back to that question. Yes, actually, I thought it doesn't matter, but it surprisingly does. Because it allows you to, if you're firing into a pulk of enemy ships and you're sort of missing one, it allows you to hit one that's, behind it, because your torpedoes just keep on going. So against clustered up enemy ships, groups of enemy ships that are not destroyers, this is actually quite fun and nice to have. So let's have a look at what we can do. You can either get better torpedo damage and better flooding chance, or the advanced engine. Now, given that this is a ship that I like to play positionally, and obviously I need to be able to run away from things that I can't deal with, like destroyers, I went here for the advanced engine, but I think they're both very, very valid choices to take. So I think either of them is a very valid choice to take. Equipment-wise, you can actually fit the torpedo tube mod 2 on this ship because it's a Japanese boat. I'm not sure if the Pan-Asians are getting these, but it does reduce the torpedo reload time by 5%. And since you're usually not getting shot at an awful lot, having your torpedo tube shot off is not a massive risk. I think this is a decent thing to take. Otherwise, obviously, concealment in 3. And I have taken propulsion because, once again, for me, this is all about the engines and getting in. Jockeying for position where the enemy team doesn't expect you and try not to be seen. One thing people mentioned during the cargo video that I did is yes, obviously you weren't spotted because there was no carrier in the game. Yes, if there's a carrier in the game, this whole thing becomes also very, very interesting. And that, I don't have a carrier game because I haven't managed to actually get into one. But when I was test playing, but the long torpedo range means that you can, in a carrier game, take you can still hit things without taking as much risk. So there are some interesting nuances here. That said, there is a legendary commander who gives an additional torpedo reload, I believe. But let's actually check. I think there was one, but I'm not sure he was. Was it this guy? Commander skills. Yeah, this one. So he's got the nitrate skill, which is just crazy, right? If you put that skill onto one of these premium destroyers, you get an additional engine accelerator, you get 2 smokes instead of 1, and you get another torpedo reload, which means you'd have 2 or 3 on the UDAT sheet. This guy, if I can ever get my hands on this guy, I'd pay money. Not crates, but I'd pay money to maybe 1 or 2. But yeah, that's one guy. If he shows up somewhere in a bundle, then I'd be very tempted, because that just powers up these destroyers like crazy. But anyway, we're doing this on a more, because no, they're quite hard to get. Let's be honest. We're doing this on a more traditional setup. So what do we got? We've got underwater protection, torpedo alert, obviously preheating. I am using Daredevil, and I know not everybody agrees with these things. I mean, there's nothing really important here to take. You could take Survivalist. You might as well take Daredevil. This is more for the occasional. Like, honestly, if you get into a gunfight in this destroyer, then oftentimes, and you get in low health, then oftentimes you sort of lost anyway. But yeah, you can't kind of take both. I'm not taking Survivalist because the actual amount of hit points that you'll be recovering isn't that large, because you don't have that many to begin with. So I haven't run the numbers, but what does it give you? You survive another semi-pen from destroyer guns? Not worth it, honestly. Exploit weakness, yes, because you will be having things flooded and fully prepared, because it's the only thing that makes sense. And I am actually using the Adrenaline Rush. You could use the Mistweaver. It's 1 smoke. Don't care that much. The cooldown doesn't matter. It's a smoke 1. You could extend its lifetime for a little bit, but honestly, with this ship, I'm not sitting in my smoke anyway to start shooting people. I'm mostly, not often, sometimes, I'm mostly using it as a, oh crap, I run into a thing that I don't want to run into, and then just ink and get the heck out of there. So may as well use Adrenaline Rush. Not a really important choice here at these anyway. The camouflage, the historical camo, is giving us more torpedo ranges if we needed that, more torpedo speed, better traverse and surface detection. So yes, very much recommended. But with that setup, we are getting to a 7.8 second time to full speed. There are cruisers that have a longer turn time than that. She's not the most maneuverable, but the engine power is really nice to have. And obviously now the torpedoes are having a reload of 69 seconds and a range of 12.48 kilometers, which is and 75 knots speed, which is quite hilarious. So definitely, and a 5.3 kilometer surface detection. So definitely an interesting setup, and yes, a very specialized. I will, if I can manage to get a stealth destroyer, because I will be playing the cargo more on my personal as well. If I get the stealth destroyer battle with a carrier, I will actually feature that at some point, because I haven't really managed to find one during test play. But anyway, let's get into some gameplay. Welcome everybody to Campground Zero, otherwise known as the Asian server. We are playing base capture on Silent Shoal, up against Bismarck, Gneisenau, Colorado, and Amalfi. No enemy destroyers and no carriers. How good do things get? And yeah, I mean that when I say it, because things have a tendency to on the Asian server, players have a tendency to put up their tent, grab the marshmallows and not move extremely far. So we are in a reasonably fast ship with a very good stealth and very, very long-range torpedoes. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to go and see if anybody's defending their flanks. Now, there are a couple of bots on these on these teams. I can't quite remember. I think it was 2 or 3. But I think it's 2 bots on each team. So you do obviously have to be careful as a destroyer against bots, because bots negate your smokescreen. Bots have a nasty tendency to fire high explosive when at some points, and there were bot cruisers. So, but bots are also going to go straight forward. So going around the left flank, and yeah, we've spotted the enemy Bismarck. I'm just checking if anybody is running this flank. The bots are probably not going to go this way because they're just running straight forward. So, can we get anything off at the Bismarck? No, the Bismarck's actually slowing down because why would you want to be close in the action in a German battleship? Let's get a little bit closer, but look at the torpedo range. I can almost reach the enemy cap circle from here. So there they are. There's the Bismarck, there's the Amalfi, there's also the Colorado somewhere there. So generally the idea is I don't even need to get, I mean, I can't get much closer, but they sure as hell don't expect me here. So I'm going to use even my torpedo reload here and just dunk some more torpedoes into the general direction, because I'm pretty much guaranteed to hit something. I mean, obviously once these hit, then they know that I'm here, but let's see if they're doing something about it. So my team has managed to kill one of the bots, and one of the enemy bots has died. There's a couple of torpedo hits on the Bismarck. I think I'm still gonna have range on one of the things in the back there. Yep, there's another torpedo hit. So not terrible, not terrible. 7 hits all in all. And yeah, the bots are up there, and we've hit another one. 8 hits, make that 8. So now they realize I'm here, and my team has now decided that now that the bots are gone, that lonely battleship who's doing what I'm doing but with a much worse concealment requires the attention of all 4 of my team's ships. So these guys down here are not moving out of their cup, and my team is rushing hellbent back to ours. I mean, you know, I'm not complaining. Okay, so that Bismarck looks like... I mean, he realized that he's been hit by torpedoes, right? So he knows that I'm here. Well, my torpedoes are reloading, and he doesn't know exactly where I am. So I'm staying right outside his detection range and dropping some more torpedoes on him. And then there's a nice little handy island that I can get myself into. And speed boost up. I am definitely faster than the Bismarck, and yeah, dodge that. I think we're gonna get 6, are we? Yeah, we're gonna get 6. So 6 torpedoes on target. And yes, the Bismarck definitely knows that I'm here, but my team has now retreated so far to the map border that we haven't even spotted the rest of the enemy team anymore. And now they're congratulating each other over there. For doing what? Exactly. I'm down here doing all the work, and you people have managed, it has required 4 of you to sink a battleship. But yeah, you do that. You do you. Okay, the Bismarck... I'm not sure if he's running away again because he's realized that no one else on his team is coming along. I don't know because I haven't even spotted them. But maybe he's looking for me. I don't know. Maybe he's looking for me behind that island over there. That's not where I am, buddy. And I'm faster than you. So there's no reason chasing me if you don't already know where I am. So he goes poking his nose out and he's looking behind that island, or he's taking cover from that island from that extremely dangerous cruiser that's coming down here. I don't know. Either way, I'm gonna drop another 2 torpedoes, and then I'm gonna see if I can find the rest of the enemy team, because I have no idea where they are. They're probably still sitting somewhat in their capture circle. So torpedoes out against the Bismarck. Unless he's... oh yeah, he's coming under fire from the cruiser, so he's probably going to run away. So we've spotted him. And I think I should have led a little bit... Oh, I'm detected. Oh, crap. Brown alert! Smoke! My torpedoes would have been really handy right about now. But, well, okay. Smoke up and then get the heck out of here. Because I think I just found out where the Colorado went. Run away! That's a fire. Fortunately, all the guns are on the rear, so he's letting that... No, he's damage controlling a single fire. Okay. And yeah, the Bismarck enemy Bismarck is exploring the corners of his map there. And I'm trying to set permafire on the Colorado. I mean, I'm spotted right now anyway, but the rest of the enemy team is so far away that they have no chance of actually doing anything about it. Okay, that's 1 permafire on the Colorado. Who's coming in there? Oh, Scharnhorst. Yes, you're in a German ship. Well done. You're moving forward. I am proud of you. It's only 6.5 minutes into the game. Oh yeah, let's give him some support. Colorado has run into the island, so he's moving probably forward a little bit. So if Scharnhorst doesn't run into my torpedoes, and Colorado is still on permafire, Scharnhorst is torpedoing the Colorado. As well as he should, but he's taken a beating there. My goodness, what have you done? Have you been sitting broadside on? Not really. But yeah, yes, please, Colorado, move forward, right into my torpedoes. There you go. Now Scharnhorst can just take him out with her torpedoes, and that's that thing dead. Which, that Bismarck is still chasing our one single cruiser around the map border, which leaves the other Bismarck and the Amalfi there in the center. So team calls out, target the Bismarcks. And yeah, sure, I can do that. And I'm just waiting for my concealment to go down. There it goes. Concealment is back down. Now I'm just going to get a little bit closer, but yeah, we've only got 45 seconds, so I'm going to blind drop some torpedoes in the general direction and see if I can get 1 or 2 hits on target still. It'll depend on what they're doing. Is he going forward? Is he going to keep going backwards? It looks like he keeps going. No, he's going forward a bit. So no, he's going backwards again. Let's drop both spreads, and we've only got 20 seconds left. So if I don't drop my torpedoes now, maybe they still hit. Maybe they still hit something over there, because there's still the Amalfi also, who's hiding behind the Bismarck. Not an awful lot of good that is going to do you. Oh, he's moving forward. That's a shame. Okay, let's shoot at him anyway. So we still got 2 torpedoes on target. Maybe I can still get a torpedo hit on the Amalfi. No, Amalfi's been dodging out. And Bismarck might have been running Hydro, honestly. But, yeah. That has gone well. Of course, it doesn't always work like that, right? There's stuff like German destroyers or light cruisers around that can get really, really nasty really easily. But yeah, we've done 88,000 points of damage with our torpedoes. That's fun. Let's do it again. In the second round, we are playing Domination on Haven. I like that map, although it is unbalanced. Up against North Carolina, double Bismarck, Scharnhorst, Belfast, ew. A Z-31, also ew, and an Akatsuki, not so much of an issue. But yeah, German destroyer and a Belfast who definitely look like they know what they're doing, so this might get interesting. Anyway, let's do this. We do have a Leberecht Mars on our side and a York, so, and we have an Odin. That's good to have an Odin on your team. Odin be with us. Alright, so we're gonna grab A, then head into B, because I'm reasonably certain that I can probably outspot the Aka, or at least have I'm running a full concealment build, so probably at least equivalent concealment that I have on the Aka. And I can always run away if I need to. And I've got a cruiser here with me, so if we run into Aka in B, which is not a good move, or the German destroyer for that matter, which is not a good move if you're, but it can sometimes work, but you are going to run into some severe oppositions and you don't have a way out. That doesn't involve being flat against an island. So A cap's ours, and now we're heading over to B cap and see what we can do over there. Now, against enemy destroyers, obviously you're on a little bit of a disadvantage because you don't have the utility of a Pan-Asian destroyer, which is basically an American destroyer with good guns. Okay, something is in B cup. Yep, there's the Aka. Hello, Mr. Aka. Okay, I'm gonna let my team. Now I'm spotted. So we're we're about equivalent. So there come the Aka torps. I early spot some torps, and now he's panicked, run into the island. And which means we get some free shot. This is the problem when you're doing this sort of thing. Just dodging some shots coming in from the whatever that is over there, that battleship. That's a Scharnhorst. Oh, and I'm getting shot at by a Belfast, I believe. Okay, Scharnhorst is going that way. So let's get some blind shots out at the Shani. If he's coming around behind that island, and then we stop shooting because the Aka has been driven out to the detriment of his health. And I've got a York and a battleship in A cup that is of no use to anybody. But the rest of my team is heading over the other direction. So, and there's a Belfast in B, which means I don't want to be. Hello, Mr. Scharnhorst. Yup. Didn't see that was coming, did ya? Okay. Scharnhorst is Damacon the Flood, obviously. So now I'm going to smoke up and actually try to use my guns. But there is there's something of a slightly German conviction over there. That looks like a destroyer. I can't remember what utility that thing has, if it has hydro. But German destroyers in general are not something I want to be around. And he's blind firing me with AP into the smoke, so he's not a complete fool. There are some torpedoes coming. I don't know if he's launched into the smoke, but there are. I think these are maybe Aka torps, maybe. So yeah, someone needs to kill that Scharnhorst over there. And I want to wait for my bloom to go down. Yeah, there he goes. Nicely done, York. I will need to wait for my bloom to go down before I go out there, because there's a Belfast out there. I don't want to be there. So if somebody could do something about that Belfast, that would be grand. I mean, he is relatively, like, you know, battleships. Anybody? Maybe? No? Okay, I'm gonna have to push him. We've just lost our Odin to a Bismarck. I'm not sure how that happened, but let's drop some torpedoes on the Belfast. Oh, and I got myself spotted there because he's too close. I'm not having high hopes of actually hitting that thing, but I just want to drive him away from here. So he is moving forward. I'm unspotted. So I just wanted, and he's smoking up. Some more torpedoes launched at the smoke. I just want him to be away, so I can loop around without being spotted. So because I was kind of stuck and I would have had to go the long way around, so that's not something I wanted to do. Anyway, there's the Belfast. Battleship, yeah, there. Shoot him. Sink that thing, because that's one of those that I don't want to be with. But I want to try and get into. We're leading by just a smidgen of points. I want to try and get into B Cup. Nice. North Carolina takes the Belfast out. Thank you very much. We've got Bismarck, double Bismarck, North Cal. And we've got Akka here as well. Where's that German thing gone? That was around here somewhere as well. Okay, North Carolina coming in. So one of my torpedoes is reloaded. There's the German thing coming down from the south. I'm in a turn, which means I'm going to get spotted. That's unfortunate. And it's German. North Carolina not looking my way. Z, hello. Hello, Mr. Z. Okay, Z's on fire. Z Damakon single fire. I got a couple of torpedo hits on the battleship, but now it's time to run away. and not get torpedoed by the Z. And drop some more torpedoes at the battleship, and maybe these have the... Yeah, I think he's seen the torpedoes. Now it's a permafire on the Z. Yeah, you didn't actually need to dodge those torpedoes because these are deep waters. But you know, this is difficult. I mean, it's a Japanese destroyer. Most people don't expect them to have deep waters, so he might have thought that these are for him. So because he's been busy dodging torpedoes, he's not been really doing an awful lot else. But I think my second spread against the North Carolina has missed because obviously he's now been paying attention that there's an actual destroyer around here. But that's okay. I can't remember. It wasn't a flood, but let's see if we can do some damage with the guns. We're 1 kill ahead, and at this point I'm kind of confident to go open gunboating because the Z is running off somewhere else. Let's drop some torpedoes in the general direction of that Bismarck in case he's turning, because he just took out the North Carolina, and that North Carolina, okay, that's a fire on the Bismarck, Damakon single fire, nicely done, torpedoes already in the water. So let's see if we can set a permafire. The North Carolina is bonking into an island to get to a very swift stop. And we haven't managed to hold the capture circle. Okay, Bismarck's in the turn, so I'm going to lead because he's going to speed up. The first torpedo drop was a bust, but the second drop might hit. And open water gunboating against the Bismarck is not a great thing, but he's now on permaflood. So I would say that is a very, very dead Bismarck at this point. And once again, we are running away. And he can't aim, so that's a dead Bismarck. Okay. Nice, that's that guy down, and we're still on 3 versus 3, and we're still only ahead by what? How, team? How is this? I don't even. Okay, York takes out North Carolina. Nicely done. That puts us a kill ahead. There is one of the destroyers still around. I haven't paid attention, but we're now holding C Cup. So if everybody manages to survive for another 30 seconds, then we can win this. I might still be able to get some torpedoes off against whatever that is over there. Oh, that's an extremely low health Bismarck. Okay, where's he going? He is going to turn, probably, so I've dropped some torpedoes in his wake. The problem is I only have 20 seconds left, so I'm trying to get myself visible so he would shoot at me, but... and maybe turn in towards the torpedoes, but that's not happening because I'm still too far away. And I think my second spread might be better, but I don't think it's got time to get there because we've got 5 seconds left. Yes, I can only do a little bit more damage with the guns, but unfortunately my second kill eludes me here. But yeah, the second spread would have taken him out. But yeah, the Asashio, a very, very fun ship. It's just like the Yudachi at tier 7. It depends, obviously, right? So if you're in a game which is Like, you got one battleship, you got a carrier, you got 2 cruisers and 3 enemy destroyers. Yeah, screw this. You're not going to do an awful lot. It's not as multi-role capable as the Xianyang, for example, at tier 8. But in that it actually has very, very good guns and smokes and radar and stuff. It's a niche ship, so you need to get games where where you can do things. The fun things about these torpedoes is that even in something like a carrier game, not that I would recommend that, but in a carrier game, if the carrier does not spot you, you can launch your torpedoes across half the map. And carriers tend not to move an awful lot if they're not aware that there's a destroyer in the vicinity. So you can do the occasional rather funny torpedo drop from 12 kilometers away against like an enemy carrier or something, or against an enemy battleship line. And if you're in a game, just like in the Yudachi, if you're in a game that has mostly destroyers and cruisers, not an awful lot that you can do about it. Just chalk it off, and you get the epic meme games in return when it's mostly battleships and they're not paying attention. So that's a really fun tier 8 premium. Just be aware, deepwater torps, and only a situational ship, but it can be hilarious. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.